sleep. They have a tendency to not hold human form and to shapeshift into reptilians, and there could be other things that happen. I'm thinking about the times that Diana would have gone through a menstrual period. Well, that would have also really triggered some of these people in the royal family that are reptilian around her to want to shapeshift, or any woman, any human woman in that household who would be having a period, that set of blood would tend to cause a momentary shapeshift.
What was the whole, what appears to be a ceremony surrounding her assassination? What was that about? The rumors that she was pregnant, the Egyptian Dodi-fied, and the place where it all happened, which is an ancient sacrificial site to the goddess Diana. How does all that fit together in the rituals that you know about?
Okay, the crown aspect of the goddess is Hecate, and the day of Hecate is on August 13th. And what is very prevalent in this with the Illuminati and what they've done with the Druidism and other in the Egyptian religions is they like to mirror the numbers. And so as like, for example, with the goddess Isis, her number is 18. When you mirror it, it's 81, and that is the number of the sister of Isis, Nephthys. And Nephthys was considered the evil sister to Isis. With Hecate, what I think happened here is that she was sacrificed, and it was a very important sacrifice because 3 people died, and it was a picture of the triad of Isis, Osiris, and Horus to them. Horus being the unborn child of Dodi-Fayed that Diana carried and was 3 months old, which is another very important fact, a number that's important to them to be 3 months old. Sacrificial babies are taken in utero at 3, 5, and 7 months. And when I heard about this was a deal that I understood now had gone down. And she had to die in that tunnel because that tunnel's a passageway for Diana, the goddess. And she died at the 13th pillar again because of Hecate. And she died on the 31st because it's the mirror image of 13. And my understanding of what I get inside of me, and because I was told by Berenguer de Rothschild last beginning of February when he was in this country and he was there trying to reprogram me again and impregnate me, was that he was in the tunnel. That night he had to be there because not only was it a ritual death of Diana, this was also about taking her soul. And he was taking the soul of Diana, which no one else there could do. Whoever was present there could not do it. He could do it. And he was in France.
This is the hypnotic stare you talk about?
Yes. And drawing in the breath. And he had to be there to do this ritual killing scientist ritual murder.
This would mean that the ambulance team and a doctor that arrived within a minute of the crash coming the other way must have been in on this whole deal, or at least the people in charge of the ambulance team. From your experience of the kind of people involved in this Illuminati satanic network, do you think that's possible that they could set that up?
Yes, I do. I've seen a lot of things set up that if you did not know, if you weren't in on the so-called inner circle, or know what the Illuminati can do because they depend on people not believing they're really there, you would have a hard time believing it.
I brought David Icke to America. He was in America because I brought him here personally. And so I'm saying that I am totally convinced, beyond a shadow of a doubt, to myself, that there are such things as reptile aliens. Though I have never seen one, thank God, but I totally believe they're here. Not because of David Icke, not because of Pluto Bourgeois, who I love listening to, wonderful, fascinating man. David Icke has done great stuff. But I believe that there are reptile aliens here because of my own personal research.
For many years, the real truth of our beginnings and why our world is as it is has been hidden from us. Do not be the ones living in a lie. Get Pleiadian knowledge by Mark Fluet.
Hello and welcome to this videocast for subscribers to davidicke.com. Well, over the years there's been two movies that have mirrored my own research in such a way that I was taken aback when I watched them and saw these visual representations of what I've been writing about for a long time. One was, of course, The Matrix and the Matrix trilogy in general, where people were living a false reality, believing it to be real, and as a result of that, they were controlled and herded and manipulated and directed by that which was controlling the false reality. That, I suggest, as I go into detail in my books and in the Wembley event, and the video of that's going to be available very soon. I go into detail about the fact that I'm saying that that is precisely the theme of our reality and why our reality is as it is. But the other film that goes back further came out in 1988, which really captures the themes of what I'm talking about and what I'm suggesting is going on here, was one that was nothing like as big as The Matrix and as promoted as The Matrix, but it was brilliantly accurate in the way it portrayed the society that it did, and it was called They Live. And I'll talk a bit more about the storyline in a second, but basically it's the fact that a non-human race was controlling human society by hiding behind human form. And a bit like the theme of the Avatar movie, where the American military were infiltrating the society of the Na'vi, the blue people, by taking on a blue person outside form. And therefore people are being infiltrated without realizing that some force that's not from them is doing the infiltrating. So it was kind of interesting to me this week when someone sent me a clip of an interview, in fact the whole interview, but there was a certain clip in it that I'm talking about, by Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper was the actor who starred in They Live. And in this interview, he said, in effect, that They Live was not a film. It was like a documentary. It was like telling the story as it really is. And mentioned that I, in many ways, used that movie as a theme template for explaining what I'm saying is going on. And then actually, Roddy Piper was saying, well, that is what's going on. And I remember when I first saw They Live, and the producer, director that did everything to make it possible guy was a fellow called John Carpenter. And when I watched it, I thought, either that guy's got real lucky or he has a very good idea what's going on. I suspect the latter. And I remember someone years later wrote to John Carpenter and said, look, this bloke David Icke is saying that actually They Live is based on fact. And he said, oh, no, the aliens in the movie hiding behind human form were symbolic of the Republican Party. Well, anyone who's seen They Live, you are in a laugh. So I think when you watch John Carpenter's filmmaking history, that guy's got a very good idea of much of what's happening. That's my view, anyway. So They Live, and there are so many movies coming out now that are symbolizing the society that the global cabal want to introduce. It's kind of preparing people to accept it, getting people familiar with it, so we won't resist it as much as we would otherwise. But They Live, The Matrix 2, but They Live is operating at another level. It's symbolizing the very force that is actually behind all this, and why human society is the nonsense, the inversion, the grotesque inversion of how human society could be.
Tonight's broadcast is sponsored by Pleiadian Knowledge by Fluet.